Hello and welcome to the show with me, Jillian Gotzel. This has been filmed for Glitter Finance. And today my guest is Sea Will, who is the host of the Passive Income Network. Sea Will, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, yes, no problem. Thanks for, inviting me over.
So we're now turning the tables because you're normally the host of the Passive
Yeah.
Income Network. You interview all these people across crypto world and also stock markets and online businesses. So do you like to be interviewed?
Oh, yes, I actually do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
good,
did
good.
a interview recently in Portland for Socks and Sandals podcast.
Oh, and what do socks and sandals do?
So they are mostly talking about like cultural and community and like, higher thinking education. But he also has certain guests on like myself, which fits in that mode. I'm talking about crypto and things of that nature. So it was a great fit. But yeah, I like his show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. Sounds socks and
Sandals. So
socks and
S
sandals.
O
Yeah,
X in sandals.
socks and
Yeah.
sandals. It's like men wearing sandals and socks.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
It's a cultural thing. Okay,
Yes.
so tell me, how did you get into crypto? What was your
Okay.
entry?
So crypto. So it was one of those things in about let's say 2018. I was, riding the max in Portland, I'm talking to people and some random guys, oh man, about Bitcoin and crypto. Literally, that's kind of how it happened. He was telling me about it, and it's like you got to get it from these apps. And that's when it was really, the understanding wasn't there at all. So I ended up buying a little Bitcoin, via this guy telling me about it. I didn't know what I was doing, so I ended up selling. Of course, I didn't get the ride up to 60K or anything like that. But yeah, that was pretty much how I got into it. Then moving forward, just started researching more and getting an understanding actually what this stuff was. And then here I am today, basically a couple year process.
Wow. And what do you like about the whole crypto Web3 blockchain world? What appeals to you?
Well, for one, the community. I like the passion behind the community and how people are willing to help each other and educate each other. So that's one. And then two, sovereign money. That's what I really like is that I can take self custody of my money, send it to where I want to send it at the, pretty, especially with Algorand, in 4 seconds was even more amazing. But just, kind of starting with Bitcoin, but the sovereign money. And as a technology enthusiast, this was perfect for me to like hop on in and get educated.
So you say as a technology enthusiast, but you don't actually work in tech. What is your day job? Sounds very exciting.
Well, so technically, I do work in tech. So I work in a
Okay.
media facility. So my background, so I'm a producer there, and I run the equipment room, and I actually also teach classes and teaching people how to use editing software, cameras. So that's my version of tech. I had experience also working in the film industry. So I stay around media, and then I was like, okay, let me use these skills that I have to also build something outside of, the regular work world, I'll say. And that's what I did. But yeah, definitely tech. Like when I was young, I was into robotics and anything that has to do with technology, then got into sports and I came right back to tech as an adult.
Okay. So tech, I mean, obviously it interests you because you run this podcast. When did you first launch the podcast?
Let's see, February 10th, 2021. So I'm about a little over a year and a half in, and it's definitely has changed my life trajectory for
How
sure.
come?
Okay, so for one, is what I tell people about the podcast, why I believe more people should probably podcast and create videos. It was for one, I was doing self-education in real time. So after you make 500 videos, you talk to 100 different, people on your show, you get educated. So that was the big thing for me. And what was the second part of this question? Sorry.
Um, oh, you got me there. I think I was asking you why did you get started and well, I'll ask you because you were saying that self-education is a big thing for you, which is cool because
Yes.
sometimes it's actually hard to watch just to go online and look at videos because it's kind of confusing. But if you're lucky enough to be a podcaster with enthusiasm, and then you get to speak with people, you get to learn from the horse's mouth, and that's kind of exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, I bring them on the channel, and what I'm really doing, I'm asking the questions that I want to know, right? So then they educate me in real time, and then I can take that education and facilitate my audience, which then makes me learn double time because now I can explain it. And then, when no one's around, I go research and read books and websites and do all those things to keep educating myself. But that's what it's all about is to getting the understanding there, and that's the most important to me is to have that exposure, awareness, and understanding.
And you are a big fan of Algorand. You're more than you've an official title. What is your title with Algorand?
So I'm a Algorand community champion. So shout out to PG out there in California in autumn. But yeah, I'm a Algorand community champion. So essentially, what I do is I educate. I onboard people with education. So I make tutorial videos, breakdown videos, as we said, the podcasting, and then I'm also in the process of throwing in-person workshops and building a course as well. So what I'm trying to do is to get new people who don't know about blockchain and crypto to basically go from zero to Algorand.
And
That's what I
why Algorand? There's a lot of other altcoins out there that are very impressive. What made you decide to go all in with Algorand?
Okay. Starting with Bitcoin, I don't like Bitcoin's gas fees and it's pretty slow. I like this, it's a sovereign asset, so I still have Bitcoin. Ethereum has other issues that I also don't like, and it goes with gas fees mostly. So then when the Algorand, like I went around and used the Cosmos blockchain, AVAX, Polygon, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Elrond. So I use, 25 different blockchains, we'll say, or how many there are. I use almost all of them. But when I used Algorand, I found something different. So I was like, okay, let me see what the founder is. So I researched Silvio and I was like, oh, wow. I realized his writings are mentioned in the Bitcoin white paper multiple times. And then Ethereum's foundation is a lot based on Silvio. So once I'm finding these things out, I'm like, wow, what is Algorand, right? Let me go figure this out. Then I used it. And this was before we had this many applications as we do now. But even back then, I was like, this is just a better blockchain in terms of usability and speeds of transactions. And of course, the fees at 0.001 was the game changer. In my mind, I'm like, anyone could use this if you have less than $1. And that's key.
You mentioned Silvio. Are you a bit of a fan?
Yes, I'm a fan. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what stands out for you about Silvio and his leadership?
Well, his passion for crypto and blockchain, but overall, I like when he talks about a borderless economy, right? So what that shows me is that Silvio is a global thinker, and he's also a thinker that wants, like, he thinks in abundance. So he wants more people to be able to have access to the resources that, let's say, a developed, economically developed country will have, like a lot of the Western countries. He wants that for everyone globally, and that's something that I can, put behind and support that vision and dream. And and as a active user of the blockchain, I'm like, yeah, more people need this. Like you can unbank yourself essentially.
Which is cool. And tell me then, you said at the start when you got first went to Algorand, there weren't too many apps or dApps on the chain. What type of things
Right.
are out there? I see you've done some interviews. Can you
Yeah.
name one or two or talk to one or two that you really like?
Yeah. So I really like AlgoFi. I'm always talking about AlgoFi. So that one is again that app that is like it's easy to help people to teach people because I can, give them example. Like say you got your bank account and then you got AlgoFi. You could deposit the same way, you can withdraw, but the difference is you can then borrow against your collateral. You can earn higher interest of yields. You still have your stable coins and things of that nature. But if you look at your bank account, your yields are 0.025, so you're not even getting a whole percent in your savings. AlgoFi could do you better. We also, you can't borrow against yourself. If you want to get money from a bank, you need to have a W-2. You need to have all your paperwork in order and convince them basically to allow them to borrow money. And so things like that is why I really like AlgoFi. And then you got the stable coin. That's AlgoFi's native stable coin. Stable. You can take stable and then go to Lofty AI, the real estate platform, and then purchase real estate. So another piece is why I like that platform is because you have that interoperability between AlgoFi and Lofty. But if you can't, let's say, afford a house in real time, you can get exposure to real estate via AlgoFi. So those I'll say like two apps
To
I think are good for adoption.
with Loftify, is that where is the property located?
So it's a US based platform, but they
Mhm.
have properties mostly in the Midwest of now. So it's not technically Lofty is not buying the properties. They're facilitating a group of investors to crowdfund together to then buy the property. So that's why I
Okay.
like it. So you can get in for as little as $50.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And invest in property that way. And
Yes,
and
and
that gets around
passive income.
the whole issue that normally to invest in property takes large, deep pockets. and then you're
Yeah.
stuck with an illiquid asset off and you can't get out easily enough. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I say you're interviewing all these people. How many podcasts do you do a week or a month?
Ooh, it kind of varies. I don't like to really have too big of like a schedule. So
Mhm.
it could be like this week, I've already had 4 podcasts released. I just did one live today and then 3 already released. So I could have weeks where I'm releasing 3 to 5, and some weeks could be one. It all depends. But I produce probably 20 to 25 videos a month on my YouTube.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
it is. Yeah.
So tell me, because you're speaking to all these different people, getting different insights into the world. So just in the general market, right? And I mean, you're very enthusiastic, you're very dedicated, you see the whole promise of crypto, what it offers ordinary folk on bank and the abundance issues. What about the hacks? Are you worried about all the hacks that are coming up?
Always worried about that. Yes. Yes. So I'm big on safety too. So with the hacks, they make me nervous at the same time, but I do have the understanding that the weak points in crypto right now are bridges, and it's because they're trying to take, two things that are not interoperable and put something in the middle. So we want to make a centralized situation. I don't like that. So like what Glitter is talking about, well, I'm very interested in what Glitter is doing, finance is doing, is because they have Algorand's technology, and that's the one I trust the most besides Bitcoin. I really trust Bitcoin. I really trust Algorand. But yes, I have concerns with bridges. So I always recommend that people, well, this is what I do. I'll say what I do. I have some money on a centralized exchange. I leave a little bit there. I'll leave some in my ledger, and I have some in different sets of wallets. So I'm trying to spread my risk in case something does happen. I haven't had experience of a hack. I know Tiny Man initially did have one in January of 2022, but I was not involved in that one. So that was scary, honestly, at that point. But I think people are working on it.
Yeah, so what do you think, like, for example, with all it's important to differentiate between CeFi and DeFi. With all
Yes.
the major CeFi houses tumbling, now they're all interrelated, they're all lending and borrowing between each other, and a lot of high risk exposure. But a
Mhm.
lot of ordinary folk were caught out there. Do you have any opinions on what's happening there? Will CeFi go away and DeFi stay, or what do you think?
I think we'll definitely have a duality. Like there'll be CFI and DeFi. I'm not opposed to like having both of them. I think it's like I said a better idea. What happened was is kind of what happened in 2008 2009 crash here in the US was that these institutions that we're supposed to put our trust in, they actually over leveraged themselves, and they're not as I'll say as great as traders that one would think they are. They're taking risky loans, they're giving out faulty loans, and then they're trying to swing trade and leverage and short and long, which could put you in a position. Because at the end of the day, it's just a guy or some lady behind a computer who's making moves on behalf of Goldman Sachs or behalf of Celsius and BlockFi and things of that nature. And I know when you study the stock markets, when a company, say like even Coinbase, goes public, they're going public so that they can sell out and cash out the liquidity for the people that are early investors. So that's some understanding that a lot of people don't have. So pretty much comes down to it. You got to know where you're putting your money, basically. And I always tell people, read the terms and conditions, right? Some of these platforms, like let's say BlockFi, when you put your assets on there, you're actually giving your assets away. You're giving the
Quite
access.
frightening, it wasn't it? It came out afterwards because no one reads the T's and C's.
You don't
No
read
one
them.
said it's our money. Put it on here. You're not lending it. It's our money, which is very
Exactly.
scary.
Yeah, and then you got big banks like let's say corporate banks. They're FDIC insured up to a certain amount of money. Your cryptos don't say that. So I'm like, you better off going in DeFi and dealing with smart contracts,
Than
basically.
humans, yes. So you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier with the AlgoFi and the stablecoin. Do you have is the algo the stablecoin, is that a peg to the dollar, or is it an algorithmic stablecoin?
It's actually a over collateralized stable coin.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a difference. So they got the algorithmic stable coins. That's what Luna and UST was. So we saw that that might not be a best situation. And then we have over collateralized. So if it starts to go off the peg, it has resources there to push it back up. Then we have one-to-one backed stable coins. My favorite, which is USDC. That's actually my favorite. And why is because they're backed by BlackRock, Coinbase, big firms that have an incentive to make sure it stays one-to-one. And then it was kind of almost a no-brainer. When I first compared all the stable coins by name only, I was like, which one is the US dollar coin? Let's go with that one because it's like already fits for what the US is trying to do.
So do you think then, with all these collapses of the CeFi institutions, the hacks, like things like Solana, the chain going down several times, and we're in a bit of a crypto winter at the moment, what are your sentiments going forward? Do you have a feeling, is there going to be green shoots? How long will the winter last? Will it last all winter? Do you have any feelings for what's going to happen?
Yes, I do. From my research, and I study other experts, and I base some of my opinions off of other people's opinions as well and experience. But yeah, I think we're in for a little while of a bear market or crypto winter. I do know, like, we got at least into 2024. I'm believing that things will really turn around. Yeah, that's just my opinion based
Yeah,
on.
no, exactly. I mean, I know it's not financial advice. It's just
Yeah, not
get your
financial advice.
feelings. We're definitely not that. And do you think a lot of commentators have said about the ultimate price of Bitcoin? Do you have any feeling, again, personal opinion, of what a fair price for Bitcoin is?
Um, this is my opinion is that anything under, let's say, 30K for Bitcoin is a steal. Anything under 2,000 for Ethereum's is steal. And then if I look at Algorand, anything under 40, 50 cent, I feel the same type of way about. So I think right now it's just a great buying opportunity. I'm buying some things as much as I can. But the big key is what people got to decide is, are you swing trading? Are you holding for 5 years? Like, so depends on your time horizon what that price would look like. So if I'm thinking about Bitcoin, Algorand, Ethereum 5 years out, I don't really care what price it is right now. I'm just trying to make sure I dollar cost average. But if I'm swing trading, I'll be really, really cautious because we know the midterms is coming up this winter in United States, and that always affects the markets about what these politicians are doing, what deals they're making, how much money they're spending, quantitative easing, quantitative tightening. It's a lot of things that you have to consider if you're looking in short term. That's what
Yeah.
I think. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so very interesting. See, well,
Yeah.
just final question then is, can you tell me, do you have any heroines or heroes in the space that inspire you and why?
Yes, I got two. So the first one I'm gonna start with is Bilal Brahim. He's a Algorand in the Algorand space. He deals with the Fame project, and he also runs the weekly AlgoFam chat. I think it's every Sunday. So he also is a person that like educated me a little bit more in my beginning stages of Algorand, trying to get an understanding. So big shout out to Bilal. If y'all don't know who he is, go find him, Bilal Fame. And then I would say TN with One Circle and Tiger Chi. I really like what they have going on. They're bringing a really, really strong community engagement, and they're bringing that to Algorand. And so I'll be in their discords. I got a Tiger Chi. We chat and things of that nature. But I would say TN and then Bilal are big influencers for me and people I suggest to go follow.
A final question. If you wanted something on your tombstone that said who you are, what would you
Okay.
like it to be? What would be the title, the career, the eulogy? What would it be?
Wow. That's a tough one. Well, it has to be something of good vibes and he spread love.
I like it. Well, good vibes and he spread love. Sea Will, thank you so much for your time
Yeah.
today. It's brilliant.
Oh, for sure. I appreciate y'all.